All right, guys, what I'm going to try and do in this video is show you guys how the shadow trend software system works. This is not just showing you games like this does not give you all of the data that you need. The data that you need came over 5 million shoes, and that's how we've developed the process. So regardless of whatever happens in this simulation, it's just a part of the process. So we may end up winning 3 units, or if we lose the first game in our process, a shoe, and we may not even, we have to start at the beginning of a shoe, but once we don't start in the middle of a shoe ever. All right, but a shoe, once you've started a shoe and your first game you lose, we only have a -3 lost in that shoe, so the shoe itself is over. We don't even come back and, oh, good, perfect. This is literally at the very beginning of a game, and it appears that I'm not getting any type of it's not slowing. All right, so here's what we're gonna do, guys. First thing we're gonna do, we have quite some time because we've got to get analytics, so it's going to take a minute for us to actually get the data first, but literally this is at the start of a shoe. So there's going to be times where I'm going to turn this off, and so because it'll kick you out. Like if you're at the beginning of a shoe and you got to wait for analytics, sometimes it's best just to cut it off, let him get a few outcomes first before you jump in. But right now we already have a player and a banker. We always exclude the ties, so I'm going to go ahead and put in the outcomes that are currently here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to put in these outcomes: player, banker, and player. And as you can see here, we've got some time to go. We got to clear this out because this is where we're going to be updating the software, so that by the time we've gotten to game 3, we've seen a little bit of where the volatility may or may not be. All right, so we've now just got to simply wait. All right, so there's another player that came out. So we gotta wait, and in waiting, what that means is you get to listen to me yip yap until until we get some outcomes. Oh, I was gonna say here, so while that's going on, you can see the balance here is 142. 2 things, guys. When you are now with the Shadow 99 system, this has already been vetted for you. All right, so you don't have to vet anything. But I've always had multiple accounts to test with. All right, you want a testing account. If you don't have a testing account, let's say if you're only playing everything on one account and you want to test a system, or if you want to test mine, do it with just like $200. Don't start testing at your maximum bankroll. Do a small test, $100. Now we do 2%, so this is $142. So our minimum bet is 2%. What is this here? Our minimum bet is 2%. Calculator. You can see it's kicked us out right there, right? But we'll come back to it. We'll let it kick us out. We'll go back into it and update the results. All right, so just really quick here though, guys, if my bankroll is 142 and our minimum bet is 2%, that means roughly $3 is what our minimum bets are going to be when we start playing. All right, so let's go back into the game, because remember, sometimes you know, while you're waiting for results, it's gonna kick you out. All right, but we should have a few results at this point. All right, so let's see what we've got. We've had since then player, banker, player, player, and then player, banker, player, player, banker, and player. All right, so this is not a tutorial. I'm just gonna go through it. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and for game one, we already have results. So for game one, I can see here that Algo 1 and Algo 4 were the winners. Hand 1 is a positive hand 1. Trend outcome was positive. You will learn what all that means, okay? But right now, we have two algorithms that have already won the first game, and that's algorithm 1 and algorithm 4. So we're just waiting for the outcome, which it just came, and it was a banker. And you can now see which algorithm. So algorithm 2 won because hand 2 was negative. So it lost on hand 1, and then hand 2 it won. All right. And then algorithm 3 was the outlier loser. All right. So let's copy, paste, clear the last result, because we're going to be ready to play here in a second. We only have 3 more results to go. And okay, so banker comes out. Now we're waiting for, this is game 2. So the first 2 games we do not play, all right? And we have hard stop rules, right? So if we hit a -3, this shoe is done. We're not playing in this shoe anymore. But we're gonna try and go for 3 units, or we'll go, if we hit a -3 in this shoe, then the shoe is done. All right, and then the video will be done. We're not gonna do, so this is how this business works, guys. Like, you don't just play until you've won. All right, you got to do it strategically by the process. All right, so let's see what we got. Banker. So we're waiting for the next 2 outcomes so that we can play, or at least know where we're gonna play. And I don't think there's any any system noise. So like player may end up winning this one, or banker rather. All right, so banker comes out. So we're gonna update the software. Banker comes out, so that means Algo 1 and Algo 4 are winners again. So we're gonna be playing on Algo 1 in the next game, but for now, we're just gonna wait for the next outcome. Let's actually, we're gonna reload this. So Algo 1 is gonna be what we're gonna play on. We're just waiting for the next result so that we can update the software, but Algo 1 for sure will be what we're gonna play on. But I was going to say, if you don't have access to a couple accounts, I have one on Bovada. I have one on, all right, so here's the next outcome, banker. So let's go ahead and update this. So algorithm 2 was the loser here. Copy, paste, clear. All right, so now we're waiting for the next outcome because we're going to be playing next. We're going to be doing a $3 bet on our first game, and if we lose that, we do $6. Okay, and if we lose both, then this shoe is done. All right, so that was a tie. So since that tie came out, we have to wait for the next outcome because we do not include any of the ties. All right, so we're gonna wait for her to do her thing, and we're going to just, hopefully we can get 3 units. Now we're doing $3 units, so if we can do 3 units, then the shoe, once we're at 3 units in a shoe, then the shoe is done. Okay, so the maximum units we're gonna get, all right, so this was a banker. All right, so it tells us to put our units on banker. So we're gonna do 3 units on banker. And again, guys, so this is what makes, so we only do 10 shoes in a day. Now this video is not to show you the full scope, because you're not gonna learn the full scope in the beginning or any shoes. Like I could do, you would have, that's the reason why I show you guys the data, so that you can understand what it looks like over a sketch of a certain amount of time. All right, so once we get this outcome, we have got to be kind of quick here And all right, so player comes out. We got to put player here. All right, so we're going to do a double up on banker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so now if we lose this one, guys, this is not a bad thing at all. You know, if we play 10 shoes a day. Okay, so if we end up losing this one, this will be a -3 and the entire shoe is done. So that means you would walk away from this and you won't come back until the next shoe. But if we win, then we'll continue to play and try to get up to 3 units. And let's hope for the best. All right. Hard 9 right there. So banker comes out. We won. Let's update the sheet. Update. And algo 4 was the outlier loser. So we're going to go for, we're going to stick right there on algo 1 and wait for the next outcome. Okay. So we're going to stick right here on algo 1, and you can see the volatility. Now, what's interesting, the volatility is being somewhat spread around, but we're going to stick on what's making us the money, which is algo 1. Banker comes out. All right, so we're going to go right back on banker again. 1, 2, 3. Did she ask for a tip? Not giving you a tip on $3, baby. And I'm not giving you a tip at all because you have no control over whether we're winning or losing here. So I don't tip dealers. I'll tip the software. All right. So, and then once you do this, you get adjusted and used to like the cadence of how it works. Because you can see how I'm kind of flipping back and forth. All right, so we update. So now what we're going to do, we're going to wait for an outcome to start the next game. Well, let's actually wait for an outcome period so that we can update the algorithm, and then we'll go into the next game. So we're up 2 units so far, all right? And we only have to have 3 units. All right, so banker comes out. And you can see algo 2 is the outlier loser. Copy, paste, clear, and we're waiting for the next outcome. All right, so what will happen here, we're up 2 units. Let's say we play this next game, right? If we lose the next game, we will be only down -1. And we will still play into this shoe to try to get those 3 units. But for the sake of the video, whichever happens, we're just going to call it. This wasn't trying to show you how to win 3. I think you see how we're winning it. But it's just showing you the basic setup and process of how this works. All right, so let's do this. So now we're going to do another 3 units on banker. So win or lose, we would be down lose, we would only be down -1 unit. All right. If we win, we'll be obviously up 3 units, but we're up 3 units at the $3 amount. All right, and let's see here. Player comes out. All right, so let's put that there, and then we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so let's update the algorithms at 1. All right, so you can see here, this algorithm is at 100%. Everything else, this is at 75%. There's nothing above 90% except for algo 1. So this is the reason why we're on algo 1. So we only play on algos that are at 90% or better. If it's not at a 90% or better rate, then we don't play. All right. And hopefully we get a winner out of this one and we get a tie, which is good because we're going to replay that bet. And let's replay. All right, so if this comes out, well, we'll see what happens, but I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Actually, let's just wait till the result here. So again, the algorithm has to be at 90%. So one of the reasons why we cut off all of, like at 3 units, once we cut it off at 3 units, and that's a pretty hard 7. There we go. All right, so we won here. And we got our 3 units. So guess what? This is over. This is now over. The shoe is over. We're no longer playing. This is how this works. So look at this. Let's look at how this algorithm has just blasted it, right? And I think this, what's the loser? Okay. All right, so look here. You could see how the algorithm was able to extrapolate the variances. So we were able to trap the volatility and see exactly where it was. That's one of the reasons why we knew to play here instead of any of the others. This is at 100% and everything else is below 90. So let's say if this had a loss, you see now it's at 80%. So even though it's at 80%, you would have to continue to virtually watch it until it's at 90%, or just wait till the next shoe. Okay, so you only play on algorithms that are at 90% or better. So if this lost, you would continue to virtually watch it until the algorithm is back, or any of these algos are at 90% or better, and then you would jump back in if you haven't hit a -3 in that shoe. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're on a road to make $500,000. The process has showed us what to do. I've shown you guys have seen a few videos of me kind of explaining you guys the data and the analytics. So this is a much more refined version of anything I've ever done. And it's been validated over 5 million shoes. If you'd like to be a part of this system, send me an email, permutationspro@gmail.com. It is, by the mathematical numbers, the best system that has ever been created. If there's one that has better numbers, I'm all up for seeing. I'm not saying there isn't. I just haven't seen or heard about it. But I do know that according to artificial intelligence, I have the best system ever created by the numbers. Okay? Over 5 million stress tested shoes. All right, that part. All right, and you can see here just me showing you guys how this works, how we were able to make those 3 units, and how this process of the win stop loss, the win rate, the win loss, and the stop loss, those are all important in order to making this happen, because you can continue to play and you could erode this +3 that we just got. All right, permutationspro@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll continue to deliver more cool content. Until the next time, guys.